this little button right here. All right, guys. So for needs analysis, I want everybody to open up their script, and we're going to show where it starts and where it ends. Okay. Okay. No, I can't. I can't lean back. Daddy's got to be showing his face. All right. So if you open up your script and you go down to establishing buying motive, go to establishing buying motive.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Yes. Yeah, I broke it. All right. So right here is where your needs analysis starts. Okay. I'm going to show you guys some mindset, some questions to ask, some things to understand when you get to this point of your script. Okay. So right here it says, I appreciate the opportunity to see how I can help you today. When I discuss final expense coverage for people, they're typically looking to accomplish one of three things. They want to make sure that they have enough coverage for their funeral expenses and any leftover bills so there's no burden on their family, or they want to leave a special gift for their loved ones like their children or grandkids, or they want to leave a donation to a church or a charity that has significance to them. Which of these are the most important to you? So what's going to happen here is they're going to pick one of these three. What do you guys find a client says the most right here when you ask these three questions?
Number one.
Family.
Number
Yeah,
one.
family.
They don't want to leave a burden to their family.
Okay. So once you get an answer to one of these three questions, this is the number one rule to this. It has to be a conversation, not an interrogation. I want everybody to really understand that. What I mean by that is you cannot ask tough questions. Ashton, I'm on a call. You cannot ask tough questions back to back to back to back. You have to have some fluffer in the middle. Okay? So this is how you would go about that. Oh, I think that's awesome that you don't want to leave your family with that kind of burden. What got you thinking about this in the first place? What got you thinking about this in the first place? Everybody agree that's a good question to know, right? Is it health? Is it, somebody passing in the family? Like, what got them thinking about this in the first place? What got you thinking about this? Get an answer to that question, find some common ground, build some rapport with it, and then you're going to go into another follow-up question. Let me ask you, what is your preferences? Do you want a funeral or do you want a cremation? Find out what they want. Do they want a funeral or do they want a cremation? If they tell you that they want a cremation, you always need to ask, would you like a service or what would you want done with your ashes? Would you like a service or what would you want done with your ashes? Get an answer to that question. Ask them, have you had an opportunity to see about how much a funeral runs in your area recently? Or have you had an opportunity to see how much a cremation runs in your area recently? All right. Does anybody not know where to go to find average funeral or cremation costs in somebody's area? I'll say it anyways. Funeralocity.
Funeralocity.
Funeralocity. Funeralocity. Eralocity. Funeralocity. This is what it looks like. Oh, it's not gonna let me join probably from my computer. Yeah. Okay. It's because I had VPN and Funeralocity doesn't like VPNs. But that's the website that you go to. Can somebody share their screen that can get on that page on their computer?
I guess I can. There you go.
All right. So, do you want a funeral or do you want a cremation? Oh, I want a funeral. Have you had an opportunity to see about how much a funeral is in your area? They'll either say yes or no. It doesn't matter. You're going to give them what the cost is. Okay. So, right here, you're going to ask, let me ask you, do you want to be buried in Deltona, Florida, or Orlando, Florida, or wherever they're located? Is that where you would like to be buried? Yes, it is. Okay, perfect. Well, let's take a look and see about how much that's running in your area. Go ahead and do Deltona, Florida. All right, now scroll all the way down to the bottom for me, Derek.
It's Philip.
Oh, Philip. All right. So right here, you have direct cremation, full service cremation, affordable burial, and traditional full service burial. Okay. What you're going to use is you're going to use the bold number as the low end and the number to the right as the high end. So if somebody wanted a traditional full service burial, I would say, okay. So do me a favor, Miss Jones, go ahead and grab a pen and piece of paper for me, okay? Now, this is at today's cost. This is what it would cost if you passed away today, God forbid. On the low end, you're looking at $8,394. On the high end, you're looking at about $13,760. I always give a recommendation. What I always recommend my clients, Miss Jones, is to land somewhere in the middle because your family's not going to pick the most basic, but they probably won't pick the most expensive either. So, what I would suggest for you is something around 11 to 12,000. That would make sure that if you passed away today, you are fully covered. Now, Miss Jones, correct me if I'm wrong, but I have you as 69 years young. Is that right? Yeah, I'm 69. Okay. So I'm sure we can both agree if you live another, 10, 20, or 30 years, what it costs to be buried today is not going to be the same in 10, 20, or 30 years. Do you agree with me on that? Yeah, of course. It's going to go up in cost. Da, 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 da. Yes, ma'am. So I always recommend to my clients that you want to plan for the future because believe me when I tell you that you don't want to do this at the age of 75, 80 years old because it's going to cost you an arm and a leg to get insurance. So let's make sure that you have enough to last you the rest of your life. Because I cannot tell you how many times I get calls from clients that are looking to add a little bit of coverage and they already have four policies in place of 3,000, a 5,000, an 8,000, another 5,000 because they keep trying to keep up with the times to get enough coverage to last the rest of their life instead of just getting it all at once at a younger age and locking in a lower price. I don't want you to have to do that. So let's get you enough to last you the rest of your life to where you never have to worry about this again. How does that sound? Absolutely. Yeah, let's do that. Perfect. Notice how I'm slowly building this need, guys, right? We're slowly having this conversation. Now we know how much a funeral costs. We know what they're looking for it to do. We're planning for the future. I just increased the amount of coverage that I can offer, right? So what I would suggest, Miss Jones, if it's 12,000 right now at today's cost for a burial for average cost, I would say let's look at between 15 to 20,000 to make sure you're covered for the rest of your life. Sound fair enough? Yes, it does. Perfect. Here's a two-part needs analysis. Okay. First part is funeral. Now, Miss, no, sir. Yes. Give me 2 seconds, guys. I'm so sorry. I have a puppy and a 3-year-old. So
They're both the same thing.
you're not lying. One instigate, the other one attacks. Move. Well, Bobby.
Where will this recording be after we're done with this trading? Because that was a lot of words you just gave us.
Yes, it is. I will upload this into either Dropbox or send I'll send it to Rico and he can upload it to his YouTube channel.
Okay. I got to subscribe to his YouTube channel.
Yeah,
That's how
it's a
you get
must.
subscribers
Yeah,
like it.
yeah. That's a must. Without that, I mean, that's our additional
No, you
income.
don't. It's my I have two. This is the one that I just put all kinds of junk in it.
Yeah, okay.
Junk. So that's what I do. I do junk. Thank you, Rico. I
No,
appreciate
no, no, no.
it. No, I get it. I get
That
it.
sounded
That's not what I
personal
meant.
too, Josh.
Rico is now
No, no,
removed from the
just not my
training.
content. That's all.
No
I
more
worded that wrong,
Rico.
man. I'm sorry.
It's all
He's got a
trash.
serious
No,
channel.
no,
and
I
he's
put
got
all
it
the important
crap.
stuff in it.
This is where I put everything that Josh just says.
Oh man, that came out wrong.
All
Got a
right.
flush handle on there.
All right. So again, this is a two-part needs analysis. So we've already established the first part, right? We've already established the first part. You can do this first part regardless if they have existing coverage or not. Okay? Doesn't matter at this point on how much coverage they already have. The second part here as well doesn't matter how much coverage they have. Now, Miss Jones, that is our primary goal today. So by the time we hang up, that is the main thing I want to make sure is covered for you. Now, as a secondary goal, would you like to try to leave money behind for your kids or grandkids if you were able to? Absolutely. Or no. Though we're going to say one of the two. Most of the time it's yes, I would, right? How many people would you like to leave money behind for? Are we looking to leave money behind for the kids or would you like to leave money behind for the grandkids? Oh, I want to leave money behind for the grandkids. Oh, how many grandkids do you have? I have 4. Okay, perfect. And here's where I'm going to tell a story. Whenever I was younger, I don't know if you remember this back in the day, Miss Jones, or not, but they used to have bonds at the bank. You would go to the bank, you could buy $100 bond for $50, but it took 7 years to mature. Do you ever remember those? Oh, yeah, I remember bonds. I don't know. Okay. Perfect. So what my grandmother did for me is she used to buy $50 for Christmas and $50 for our birthdays. She passed away, unfortunately, when I was 14, so I had about $1,400 saved up in bonds. When I turned 16, I needed to buy my first car. I grew up in a very low income household where my parents didn't have $1,500 to give me for my first car. Luckily, my grandmother left me that money and I was able to actually buy my very first car with that money, which helped me at 16 be able to get back and forth to work, get back and forth to the movies, pick up my girlfriend, and it literally helped me become the man I am today. And I'm sure you can agree with me, Miss Jones. $1,000 to us is not a lot of money. It barely pays the rent. Do you agree? Yes, I agree. But if you remember when you were 16, $1,000 would have made a world of difference. Oh, yeah, $1,000 when I was 16, I would have felt rich. Absolutely. So I want you to keep in mind that it doesn't have to be a lot to make a big difference. Let's try to leave them as much as we can. Sound fair enough? Yes. So now I have two parts to this sale, right? I have the funeral cost over here that they know exactly how much they need to cover, right? I established the need with it. Everybody following along with me, right? And I know I'm saying a lot of words. I don't need you guys to understand the exact words I'm saying. I want you guys to understand the idea of what I'm doing here more than the exact words. Follow me?
Yeah.
The idea of what I'm doing because you can put this in your own words, your own story, and be able to build this need. So now I have the other side of it, which is leaving money behind for the family. Now, earlier on in the call, you probably found out if they had coverage or they didn't. Everybody agree with that? You probably found that out in your intro. I already have coverage. Okay. Oh, and if you didn't, you found it in your report building. Now, if you go down on your script, right past which of these are important to you. Notice how we haven't moved on from this section yet. We spent a little bit of time here, right? We found out what their needs were. We explained the cost. We went over the like what we're trying to offer, what our goals are. Now we get into the very next question, which is just curious. Has anything held you back from taking care of this in the past? Great question. I'm going to show you guys now again. Everything in this script is for a beginner, right? It's for somebody that just needs a step to follow. As you become better and better at this, it's time to elaborate. It's time to make this script your own and start adding stuff to it, not taking away from it, adding to it. Okay? That's key here. You never take away from something that already works. You build on your foundation, okay? Build on your foundation. Okay. When you ask this question, you are not going to ask this question if they already have coverage. It is a slap in the face, right? If they tell you they already have coverage and you go, just curious, has anything held you back from taking care of this in the past? The response that you're going to get is, I already told you I have another policy. What do you mean what's held me back? I already have something. What are you talking about? Are you not listening? Right? And it's almost like a slap in the face. If they don't have coverage, that's an okay question to ask. Here's a little bit of a better way to ask that. Miss Jones, as of right now, what do you currently have in place, if anything, to help cover, to go towards your funeral costs and leaving money behind for the grandkids? What do you currently have right now to go towards taking care of the funeral and leaving money behind for the grandkids? Notice how I'm not saying policy here. The reason that I'm not going to say policy here is because people may have something other than a life insurance policy to do this. They may have a savings account. They may have a 401k. They may have a house that they're going to leave behind for their kids, right? How many times have we gotten in the closes, guys, and somebody's like, well, I'll just leave them the house. Or, I got 401k that they can have, or, I got this, I got that. But that was never brought up earlier in the call because it was never asked the right way. Okay, so what do you currently have to go towards this to help cover the cost of the funeral and leave money behind for the grandkids? They're either going to tell you what they have or they're going to say, I don't have anything. If they tell you that they have something already, right here's where you pour on the congratulations. That's awesome. I think that's amazing. So I would say, let's say for an example, they say, oh, I already have another policy to go towards it. And let's say they didn't mention it earlier or whatever, or I already have a house to leave behind for them. Oh, that's awesome. Congratulations on being so well prepared. A lot of people are not in a position in their life where they're able to do something like that. So kudos to you for getting to that spot where you're able to. Now, let me ask you, how much do you have already to go towards this? How much do you have already to go towards this? Notice, the way I ask that question is not asking them how much their current policy is worth. Follow me, guys? Because when you start asking questions about somebody's policy, how much life insurance do you have? What are your payments? Da 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 da. Do you notice that they get really defensive? Right? So how much do you have already to go towards this? Oh, I have 10,000. Oh, I have 25,000. Oh, I have 50,000. Doesn't matter what they say. Now you know how much insurance they believe they have. Okay? Now we're going to split off here in two separate directions. Okay? I'm going to cover what to do if they do already have a policy, and I'm going to cover some sayings and questions that you can ask if they do not have a policy. We're going to cover have coverage first. So what do you have already to currently go towards this? Okay, so there's two parts to this. They either have not enough or they have more than enough. Fair statement to say. They either have 10,000 and they need 15, or they have 25,000 and they need 15. Follow me, guys? So they either have enough or not enough. Very simple. If they don't have enough, here's where you come in as the expert again. Okay, so you currently have about 10,000. Again, that is a great start. And again, most of the clients that call me usually have something about that amount. And again, they bought that when that was enough and now it's not. So you're probably just looking to cover the difference. So as we mentioned earlier, you have $10,000 in coverage already. We talked about a funeral going up over the next 10 or 15, 20, 30 years. So you're probably going to need an additional 5 to 10 just to cover the cost of the funeral. And then you mentioned that you had 4 grandkids. So anything over 10,000 today that we talk about will be money in your grandkids' pocket. Sound fair enough? Perfect. Notice how I'm selling on the additional coverage. Okay? That's if they don't have enough. Let's pretend that they have more than enough. That's not going to work, right? I have 25,000. Congratulations. You have enough to make sure your funeral is completely covered. That means that when you lay your head down every night, you know nobody is going to be burdened with coming out of their pocket. Great job, Miss Jones. It also sounds like you have an additional 5 to 10 to leave behind for the grandbabies. I think that's awesome. Now, let me ask you that 5 or 10 that you already have, is that for the grandbabies or is that for something else? Try to figure out what their current policy is designed for. Find out what their current policy is designed for. Once we know what their current policy is designed for, then we can start going into recommendations. Then we can start going into understanding what they're looking for this policy to do. Now, if you're in B leads, this lead could be 3 months, 6 months, or a year old, right? If you're in A leads, it's usually going to be between 1 day to 3 months old. So depending on the lead that you're in, this might be a way that you'll kind of approach this. You'll go, okay, let me ask you, how long have you had that current policy for? Find out how long they've had their current policy for. At this point in your call, guys, they can tell that you're actually trying to help them. They're going to be a lot more willing to give you information about their policy, okay? They're going to give you a lot more information about their policy. How long have you currently had your policy for? I know we're covering a lot, and I know that a lot of this is going to be lost over everything that I'm saying, but just really, guys, focus on where I'm trying to go with this, okay? There's an end goal in mind here, and that's to get the jack in the box to pop. Okay? That is my end goal here. So, we've established that they already have coverage. We know that they have 25,000. We know what the policy right now is designed for, and now we know how long they've had it. If they got that policy 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago, right? That tells you, and this is a mental thing just to keep note of, if they got that policy that long ago, that means that they're looking for additional coverage automatically because the request that we have came in after they got that other policy. If that policy that they got and it's an A lead, if they got that policy 3, 4 months ago, that means that we just didn't contact them in time and they got that other policy before speaking with us, which means that they're probably just looking to make sure that that 25,000 is the best option for them. They're trying to compare, right? Following me, guys?
Yep.
So I want to know at this point, just based off of how long they've had that policy, I know what their initial goal was when they reached out. Was it to compare or was it to add? just by how long they've had that other policy. See that? So this is useful information to know because now you can approach your call in a direction that helps you kind of understand what their initial request was for. Okay, again, if they've had a policy for a long time, it was simply to add. If they've had that policy very recently, it was to compare. Okay, so that's how I'm going to word it. I would say, oh, you got that policy about 6 months ago. Again, congratulations on getting that. You were probably just wanting to make sure that what you got was the best option for you. Am I right? Yeah, you're right. Okay. What made you choose 25,000 when you chose it? What made you choose that amount and not more or less? Can anybody think of why this is a great question to ask?
Could you repeat the question, Josh?
Yep. What made you choose that amount and not more or less?
It will kind of open up a conversation to let you know what they plan to do with their final expense from the start.
Yes. Agree with that statement. More though, it will tell you that part and a budget standpoint, right? Well, that's all I could afford. Or that's all they offered me, right? So now you're understanding if they say that's all they offered me, what does that tell you? They wanted more but couldn't get it, right? But if they say that's all I could afford, that tells you that they maxed out their budget on their current policy. Everybody agree with that? So now I'm
Yep.
understanding what their budget is at the same time here. I will say needs analysis is the toughest part to train on because there's so many different instances and scenarios to go for. So I really just want you guys, and I know I keep reiterating this, but I really just want you guys to understand the mindset behind what the needs analysis is for and where I'm going with this call. Okay. So I would say, oh, that's all I could afford. Hey, I respect that. So you were probably just looking to see if that is the best option for you and your family, or do you feel like you're in a little bit of a better position now where you could add a little bit to it? Well, no, I'm just seeing if I can find something cheaper. Now I know what their goals are. Okay. Oh, I was just looking to see if I could get a little bit more. Okay, still know what their goals are. So now we have a need. We know how much coverage they have. They know why they chose that amount. We know how long ago they had it. Now to the other side of this, if they don't have coverage. This line works amazing. So when you ask somebody, just curious, has anything held you back from taking care of this in the past? What is the most common response that you guys get?
Money.
Money. Money. Everybody agree with that? Does everybody agree it's
Yeah,
money?
money.
Okay.
Probably the most
Um,
frequent.
what I noticed is I always got, oh, nothing, or never really looked into it. Some vague answer like that. Okay.
Procrastination. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Oh, I just never really looked into it. Oh,
Or
nothing really.
just time.
Just time, right? Just a very vague, just haven't thought about it, right? I'll cover both of those with you guys. Because those are the two most that you're going to get, right? Money, or I just really haven't looked into it. I really just haven't had the time, or I just never really thought about it. If they say money, again, it has to be a conversation. It cannot be an interrogation. Right here is where you're going to want to take some time to understand what do they mean. So if somebody says, just curious, has anything held you back from take care of this in the past? Oh, money. Here's where I'm going to find common ground. Oh, I can understand that, Miss Jones. Living on a fixed income is not easy. My grandmother, she's 74. She lives 5 minutes away. I help her as much as I can. I know what it's like for her to live on a month-to-month basis, and it's not the easiest thing to do. Do you agree? Yeah, it's hard, right? And again, I'm just saying something that they're going to agree to no matter what. Nobody's going to go, yeah, it's super easy to only get paid $800 a month. I love it, right? Nobody's going to say that. So then you go, let me ask you, what are some prices that you've heard that have just not been affordable for you? What are some prices that you heard that were just not affordable for you? They are going to give you an answer. Stay silent. Let them think. If they're like, oh, I don't really remember, stay silent. They will throw a number out there. This number is what they believe their budget is. I just found out what their budget is without asking what is your budget. Okay? If you don't mind me asking, what are some prices that you heard that were not affordable for you? Uh, they were telling me like $150 or $100 or $80, or they were telling me $30. Can you believe that? Right? Regardless what the number is, it gives you an idea of what their budget is.
What if they don't say?
They will. You got to stay silent long enough. They'll say. They'll say. What would
Whoever
be
speak
enough?
win.
Yeah, what would you say would be another response that they would say, Rico? And I'll show you how to get them to say.
Uh, you know, something I wasn't sure how to like. Oh, I don't remember.
Or I really have no idea. Or yeah.
Yeah, something
So
like that.
if you stay silent long enough, they'll usually throw a number out there. They will usually just throw something out there. Doesn't matter what it is. Let's say they don't, though. Let's go with the scenario where they don't. Here's what you're going to say. And this actually leads over to the didn't really think about it, never really had time. So what I'm about to respond to you guys right now is the same response that you're going to give if they say, "Oh, I never really looked into it, never really had time," okay? This is what you're going to say. Well, let me ask you this. At your age, at your age, you probably get calls like this all the time. Am I right? At your age, you probably get calls like this all the time. Are you right? And what do these people complain about more than anything else? I get all these phone calls, people blowing me up, right? So when you say this, you're getting this response from them. So this is what we want, okay? We don't want this in the beginning, but we want it right here, okay? Follow me here. When at your age, you're getting calls like this all the time. Am I right? Oh yeah, these people, they never stop calling. Da 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 da. So what does that tell you? That tells me that they're getting phone calls. They've talked to somebody else. Believe me, you are not the Jesus of insurance. You're not the only person that has ever got them to talk. I promise you that. You're good, but you're not like there's like everybody has an equal. So somebody else out there got them to talk. Follow me? So they've spoke to somebody. So now I'm going to follow up with this question. When you've spoke to agents in the past, what have you found that you liked or didn't like about what they had to offer? Okay, so I want you guys to realize what we just did there. We just turned a never really looked into it into their real objection here. Okay? Because when they say, "Oh, I never really looked into it," and you go, "You probably get calls like this all the time, am I right?" And they say yes, what did they just do? They just admitted that they looked into it. because you're going to say when you've spoke to agents in the past, what have you found that you liked or didn't like about what they had to offer? Here they'll go probably switch it right back over to the first one that we covered, which is money. I understand. I get that. Living on a fixed income is hard. I know what it's like. Let me ask you, what are some of the prices that you heard that were just not affordable for you? Bam. That's how you get them to switch over and actually give you an answer, Rico. They will give you an answer. I promise you, they're going to give you something. Something they're going to give you, okay? Now, now we know what their objection really is. They're either going to say, oh, I didn't even think I needed it. Oh, I didn't really care. Oh, I couldn't afford it. Whatever their objection is that objection that they give you right there is 100% going to be the objection that you get at the end. I don't care what they say at the end. Think about it, talk to kids, let me pray on it. Whatever their objection is right there is their real objection in the close. So be ready for that. Be prepared for that. Follow me? Yes, thank you for bringing that up, Olivia. Whatever price they tell me, that does not limit what I quote. I want everybody to realize that. That does not limit what I quote. Okay. So if they tell me, oh, these people, they were telling me $150, $200 a month, there's no way I could do that. That does not mean I'm not going to quote them $150, $200. Okay. The reason I'm not going to be scared to do that is because that other agent that told them 150 may have had no value in their policy. They may not have known how to build value in their policy. So if I build enough value, it's worth it. Okay.
Josh,
Mm-hmm.
could you repeat what you had said when you spoke to agents in the past, what have you found that you like or didn't like that
About
they've
what
had
they
to
had to
offer?
offer. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
So, um, if that is their objection at the end, you might be getting to this. Is that when you come back to what they said?
100%. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So this is where we're going. So we're going to get into the closing side of it. But so anytime that you're struggling with the close, it always has to do with needs analysis. Every time, no matter what. I do not think of myself as a great objection handler. Okay, I'm not very good at getting an objection and overcoming it. What I'm better at is preventing an objection altogether. Okay, and this is how you do it. You got to have these honest conversations. If you don't have this type of conversation with your client and you offer them a product, are you really doing them a service? No, right? Because you don't know what their real goals are. You don't know what they're really looking for. You don't know what their real problems are. And in order to sell something, you have to have a solution to a problem. Okay. So now I know if they have coverage, if they don't have coverage, what made them choose that amount, what, stopped them from getting coverage in the past. So now, again, if they don't have coverage, this is where you're going to try to bring out the emotional side of it. Hey, I understand that. I know price is difficult. Let me ask you, God forbid if you were to pass away today, where would your family come up with the money to cover your funeral costs? Now, obviously, you're not going to ask this question if they already have it covered, right? But if they don't, let me ask you, God forbid if you were to pass away, where would your family come up with the money? This brings out the emotional side of it. And doesn't matter what they say, your response is going to be very similar to this. Let's make sure that does not happen. Or I'm going to make sure that that does not happen. Let me gather some information so we can see what we can get you qualified for. And now I'm segueing into my health questions. Let's
Okay.
make
And
sure. Mhm.
oh, sorry. And what if, because I find that I do have some people, not to say men or women, but I have some men be like, in that instance, they'll be like, oh, like I'm just gonna pay for it up front, and I'm not sure. I'll sort it out now. Like I'll sort it out.
So
Oh, you're talking to the pride.
so there's person. I want everybody to read The Wolf of Wall Street, or The Way of the Wolf. I'm sorry. It's a book by Jordan Belfort, and it covers different personality types. It's a great book to read. It's for sales, and it goes over all these different personality types. So I think there's only like 11. I could be wrong in saying this. It's been a while since I read it, but I think there's only like 11 or 13 different personality types in the world. So you got to find the personality type that you're dealing with, and this is how you would handle that, right? So this person is the kind of person that's like all macho. Oh, I'll take care of this myself. I'll pay for it myself, right? You got to bring down their ego a little bit. You got to break them down a little bit. Let me ask you, why haven't you taken care of that already? Let me ask, what happens if you pass away before you get the opportunity to? Okay, notice how I'm breaking it down a little bit on them. Why haven't you done that already if that's what you were able to do? What happens if you pass away and you don't have that done? Then what? Now you got to get them thinking. Okay? Same thing. This is my favorite thing. When somebody says, oh, they can just bury me in the backyard, they could put me in a 55-gallon drum and just burn me. You guys ever get responses like that?
Yeah.
Here's how
Yes.
you turn that
Oh,
around.
Oh,
Ready?
absolutely.
Ready? I'm about to show you the one question that will turn that person around in a heartbeat. Miss Jones, Mr. Jones, I agree with you. I would be okay with that for myself as well. But let's be honest, that's only thinking about ourselves. Let me ask you this. If your daughter passed, would you be okay burning her in a 55-gallon drum in the backyard? I promise you, they will stop that line of thinking and that line of talk right then and there.
Yeah, I love
Because
that.
what they're thinking about is themselves at that point, right? They're being very selfish. Because most family members are not okay throwing their dad in a 55-gallon drum in the backyard and burning them, right? Oh, they could just do this to me. And what they're thinking about is they're fine with it, but they're not putting themselves in their shoes. So when you turn it around and you say, well, let me ask you, if your daughter passed, would you be okay doing that to her? No way, no, I wouldn't. So do you think they would be okay doing that to you? Immediate, I mean like right away, immediately they're like, well, no, I don't think she would. Okay, so let's not put them in that predicament. Let me gather some information so we can make sure that doesn't happen. Again, all I'm doing here is segueing into my health at this point. Okay, my needs analysis is almost completed, and now I'm segueing into my health. But when you get those ego type driven personalities, you have to break it down a little bit. If you don't, you're not going to close that deal. But that is the point to do it. Okay. And you know it's going to hit because you could see Derek's reaction. As soon as I said it, he was like, oh boy. Right. But it puts it in it puts it in perspective like, oh, Jesus. Okay. Maybe you're right, Josh. Maybe you're right, Emily. I don't think I wouldn't want to do that to them. Right. So now I'm segueing into my health. My needs analysis. Everybody agree that I got a strong foundation here. I got a good idea of what they're looking for, everything like that. Right. Any questions up until now?
No, it's just a lot.
It is a lot. It is
I
a
got a
lot.
quick question for you, Josh.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Millie.
All right. From what you just said, like bury me in the backyard or bury me in a tent, in a barrel, whatever. Did you agree with that? Like, what did you not agree, but what did you say? You acknowledge what they said. I
Yes.
hear what you're saying.
Yes. So never, never, never be confrontational, right?
Right.
So this is where a lot of people struggle is they don't know how to find common ground before you. So again, guys, it has to be a conversation, not an interrogation. So before you respond with anything, any question, anything, you have to find common ground. So I would say, hey, Mr. Jones, I agree with you. I would be okay with that myself, right?
Mm,
Go the cheap route, save money. I agree. Let me ask you. And then you hit them with the tough part.
right.
But
Okay.
you have to find that common ground first. Because
And
if
then
you
you,
don't, you're battling heads. You're head butting each other.
yes, sir. And then you also said, you're thinking about yourself.
Yep.
What did you
Yep.
say? Like we're selfish. How did you word that?
I don't want you to say that. That
Oh,
was
okay.
just for
All right.
you to kind of think like, okay, hey, they're
Okay.
being selfish,
Right,
right?
I got
It's
you.
a
Okay.
selfish mentality is what it is. But don't
Okay.
tell them they're being selfish. Just
All
say,
right, I
hey,
got
I agree with you. I would be okay with that myself. Let me ask you this though. Bam, hit them with that hard question.
you.
Now
Okay.
change their mindset. Okay.
That's good. Yeah, I like that. All right.
So now we're going through health. I'm not going to cover health, guys. We're going to go right into the close. Okay. So at this point, we've asked health questions. I want to cover one part of the presentation and we're going to go right to the close. I want everybody to go down to presentation on your script. Just a heads up, everybody. I am working, me and Zach are working on a new script. Just a heads up to everybody. It is the exact same script that you're using now, just updated. Okay? So just a heads up to everybody. I'll send it to you guys probably tomorrow. We're going to try to finalize it. We're going to role play it. Okay. Everybody at the presentation part of your script?
Yeah.
Somebody read me the very first paragraph.
Okay, great. Well, based on everything you just said to me, I have a plan that's perfect fit for you with Pioneer Security. And what you're basically telling me here is that you want to make sure that this is taken care of for your family, and you feel like this is something worth looking into, right?
Beautiful. That is the first paragraph. Everybody see that? Everybody on the same part, right? Okay.
Yep.
Change one thing about this. We just spent all this time in the needs analysis establishing a need, a why, right? And why nots and everything like that, right? So right here, the reason that this script is like this is again for a brand new agent. You can't have recap everything because they're like, recap what? What are you talking about? But now everybody in here is at the point where this is going to be beneficial. So where it says, and basically what you're telling me here is you want to make sure this is taken care of for your family and you feel like this is worth looking into. Am I right? Instead, say this. And just to make sure I'm understanding you correctly. And just to make sure I'm understanding you correctly. And right here, I want you to throw up everything you just ate. What I mean by that is you just gathered all this information. It's time to spill it back out and let them know you were listening. So I'm gonna give you an example of this. And just to make sure I'm understanding you correctly, Miss Jones, you mentioned that you already have a $10,000 policy to go towards your burial. As we discussed, the burial right now is between 15 to 20,000, so we're a little underinsured and we want to make sure that this is taken care of for the rest of your life. We also mentioned that you have four kids that you want to try, or four grandkids that you want to try to leave money behind for. So what we're trying to do is leave them as much money as we can. Now, you got that policy about 3 years ago, and you just feel like you need to add a little bit more to it, and you feel like, putting something like this in place would be beneficial for you and your family. Does all of that sound accurate? Okay. What this does, guys, and I swear this guy has to be one of the best salesmen in the world. Mark Cuban from Shark Tank. You guys know who I'm talking about? He owns a basketball team. I don't know which one, but he owns a basketball team.
Used to.
Yeah, he
Mavericks.
Mavericks.
sold it.
Mhm.
Mavericks.
He
Right?
sold it.
Okay. But
Made $1 billion.
yeah, a phenomenal salesman. I mean, one of the best in the world. If you guys have ever watched Shark Tank, every time this man wants a company, he gets it. Every time. It's for only one reason that he gets it. He regurgitates everything that he's been writing down and then offers a solution. That's exactly why he goes, and just make sure I'm understanding you correctly. You're wanting to take the business here and do this and this and this, and I can help you do this, this, and this to get you there. And every time they're like, yes. They point their finger out and they go, yes, right? This is what I'm visualizing as I'm regurgitating this to the client. I need to tell them what we talked about, what their goals are, and what I'm going to do to offer a solution to that. Okay? Bring their attention back to their why. Now you go through your presentation. So I'm going to repeat what I said there. And just make sure I'm understanding you correctly. Regurgitate. Does that sound accurate? Yes, it does. Right back into my script. Okay? The best part about this presentation is don't change a word of it. Read it word for word. Well, that makes sense. Just so you know, all of our programs typically will pay out within 48 hours of receiving a death certificate. That means that your family won't have to wait weeks or months to get the claim paid. So we're going to skip past all this because it's just reading. Okay? There's nothing fancy that you have to do here. Now we get to our quote negotiation. Everybody see that on their script?
Yeah.
Quote negotiation. Here's how you make this valuable. Every quote that you give, break it down. Every single quote you give, break it down. All right, Miss Jones, I'm going to have you write down 3 numbers. Go ahead and write down $50,000 for me. Write down 45,000 and 40,000, okay? $50,000 is going to be enough to cover a funeral for the rest of your life. It'll cover the gap between what you have and what you need, which is about 10,000. This will also leave $40,000 behind for your 4 grandkids, which is $10,000 apiece. If you wanted to leave them that much, that is only going to be $446 per month. I'm telling you guys, this works, this works, this works, this works. 45,000, Miss Jones. This
I
is
don't see
gonna
where you are. Sorry, I don't see where you are on the script though. I was trying to.
So I'm at the quote negotiation part.
Okay,
It's
under pre.
it's page 6. I mean, I numbered mine, but it's on the 6th page.
All right, I don't have numbers on this one. So right after presentation, I
Yep,
see the red that says start with max coverage.
yep, yep.
Okay, is it further
Okay.
down?
Nope, nope. So you're on
Right
the
there.
right spot.
Oh, okay, okay.
So what I'm teaching you now is this is the begin and again, like Mackenzie or Camry's, Keaton, right? There's gonna be a few of you guys that are like brand new, right? So right now a lot of this is gonna seem pretty foreign to you, right? Because you're like, hey, I don't see that on the script. And you're right, it's not on there. I want you guys just reading the script. Don't change anything at this point, okay? But I want you guys to understand where I'm going with this. So, like, for most of the team, they've been here longer than 3 weeks. So it's time that they start getting the more advanced sales, okay? Right now, the only thing I want you doing is getting me on the call and listening to me do it. Okay. And then if you can't get me on the call, just read it. Don't make it any fancy. I just want you getting practice at this point, right? Same way that if you go to the gym and you start boxing, the first thing the coach has you do is practice your stance, practice your footwork, jab, jab, jab 1,000 times, then add in a hook, then add in an uppercut. But you got to build off of the foundation first. That's what I want you guys doing. So if you've been here 2 weeks or less, everything that I'm saying, listen to it, but you're going to just get me on the call and let me do it so you can see it done hands on. Okay. Very good question. Thank you for bringing that up, Camrys, because you're not going to see that necessarily on the script. Okay.
Okay, no problem.
So 45,000 This is going to be enough to cover your funeral completely from start to finish and cover it for the rest of your life. This is also going to be enough to cover the gap between what you have now and what you need, which is about 10,000. This is going to leave $35,000 behind for your 4 grandkids, which is just over $8,000 a piece. If you want to leave them that much, that is only going to be $392 a month. 40,000. This is enough to cover your funeral completely for the rest of your life. And notice, guys, am I repeating myself on every quote that I give?
Yes.
Yes, I am. But I need them to realize what it does, every quote that I give, because every quote is different, okay? You don't just do the 50 and then go 45,000 is this, 40,000 is this. You need to repeat everything that you're saying on breaking it down because that is where the value is, okay?
Okay,
You
Josh,
yeah,
how much time or pause do you leave in between before you say the next price, before the next quote?
I do them back to back to back. I go
Okay.
50, 45, 40, right? Um, Now, this is something that has worked very, very well for me. When I get done with my 50, my 45, and my 40, I say, out of these options, which option do you like the best? What is the most typical response that you get when you go to those high numbers?
Oh, that's more than I can
None of them.
afford.
None of them. I can't do those. Those are too high, too expensive. I'm on a fixed income, Josh. What are you talking about? $400 a month. That's half my Social Security check. That's half my disability check. What are you talking about? Right? Sometimes, which is the reason that we quote high, somebody goes, I'll do the 50. Right? That's why we quote high, because you do get that every now and again. You're like, I think you should do the 50, Miss Jones. Let's go with it. Right. But then you get the normal client that's like, listen, I can't do any of those. I'm gonna have to go over my budget. I'm gonna have to do this. I don't think I can do that. Instead of going, well, no, 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 I got lower options, and now you're freaking out. You're trying to save the sale, you feel like, right? But all you're doing is making the client think that you're just trying to get a sale, right? Oh, I got lower options. Da, 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 da. Just say very calmly, let me ask you, Miss Jones, how far off are we? Would you like me to drop it by a lot or by a little? How far off are we? Would you like me to drop it by a lot or by a little? Very calmly. Very calmly. Put the ball in their court. Takes away the salesman, right? And now you're allowing them to pick. Typically, what happens here is they go, well, how much would a 20 be? Or what does the 30 look like? Absolutely. Let me see. Very calmly. Very calmly. Let me see. So 30,000, Miss Jones. This is going to be enough. I'm going to repeat myself here. This is going to be enough to cover your funeral completely for the rest of your life. It's going to cover the gap between what you have and what you need. Like we discussed, is about $10,000. This will also leave $20,000 behind for your grandkids. So it'll leave them $5,000 a piece. If you wanted to leave them that much, Miss Jones, that brings it all the way down to only $215 per month. Does that work a little bit better for you? Well, I don't know. I still need to think about it. Completely understand. How far off are we? Would you like me to drop it by a lot or by a little? Well, what's the 15? What's the 20? Oh, got them. They're going to buy that one. You know it. They're about to buy that one. Guaranteed. Okay? So drop it. Whatever they ask for. What's the 15? What's the 20? Give it to them. Same way that I just gave them all the other quotes. Break it down. You got a sale. Okay? Now, let's go to the flip side. Let's say you messed up. You didn't do that right because that's the only way you're not getting that sale. Let's say you didn't do that right. Now you get that. I need to think about it. Let me talk to the kids. Let me do this. Let me do that. Okay? I can give you guys rebuttals until I'm blue in the face. Okay? Here's what I want you guys to do, though. I have my own way of doing rebuttals. I cannot train it. Okay? I treat every situation differently. I base it off of where my mind is going. It's almost like playing chess at that point for me. So I'm thinking if they move here, I move here. If they move here, I move here, right? So I cannot give you guys the words that I use on my closes because they're not duplicatable. I want everybody to understand that. Don't do as I do as I teach. Okay? When you get to a point where you've done this for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, do what you do, right? But until you get to that point, this is what you're going to do. Ms. Shamari, question first.
So when you like quote high during the presentation, do you still word it the same way for people who like have mentioned like price early on? Like let's
Absolutely.
say, okay.
Yep. And the reason that I always say if you want to leave them that much, that would only be this. Because Henry said something that was very intriguing to me. He's been in this industry a heck of a lot longer than I have, right? He's in his 50s. He's been around the block. He knows. He said in his area, insurance, and he grew up in a black neighborhood. He said that insurance agents would come to the black neighborhood and they would not offer them a higher number because they didn't want them to get out of poverty. That to me, it kind of opened my mind like, why would I offer a lower coverage to somebody that tells me they can't afford it without at least giving them the option to do it if they wanted to? Follow my mindset on that? So when
Yeah.
he said that, it like literally hit me so deep. I was like, dang, like I don't care if they can afford it or not. I, out of respect, should at least give them the option to leave their family with a nest egg if they wanted to. Maybe they decide that they couldn't afford it before, but when they hear that it'd leave each kid 15 grand and they've never seen 15,000 in their life, maybe that might intrigue them enough to spend the $400 a month. Everybody agree with that mindset there?
Yeah.
So again, I never thought of it like that. I always thought, hey, if their budget is this, let's offer, something a little over budget, something at budget, something below budget, right? But when he said that, I was like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Let me give them all of their options. Let me quote high. Okay. The only time that I don't quote high is for people that are like, I don't want to leave any extra. I just want to make sure my funeral is covered. Those kids, they're taken care of. They don't need any more money. They're doctors, they're lawyers, they're this, they're that. I'm leaving them the house. Like they have all this other money. I just want to make sure that they don't have to pay out of pocket for my funeral. For the people that don't want to leave extra money, I'll give them their regular quotes at what would take care of it. Okay. All right. So, um, so I can't train you guys on the rebuttals that I use. So I'm going to give you guys rebuttals that work, okay, that I need you guys to do. And I need this to start becoming a normal thing on the entire team. And it's my fault because you guys don't see me use it. And obviously, a leader is supposed to lead by example. So, again, it is my fault that this is not more commonly used. But the agents that do use this close deal, Shamari, you used to use this all the time. Malik, I've heard you close with this many times. I don't know if you guys still use it enough. Maybe you guys are starting to expand to your own rebuttals, but this will definitely help you get back to the basics if you ever find yourself struggling. If you go down just a little bit to the loop, it says, if they give you an objection, say this. Does everybody see that on their page?
Yep.
I want to do the 30, Josh, but I need to think about it. I hear what you're saying, but let me ask you a question. Does the idea make sense to you? Do you like the idea of a program like this for your daughter, Jenny? Yes, exactly. The true beauty of a program like this is that unlike most plans out there, this program will never go up in price and you're never going to have to worry about doing this ever again. Pretty good, right? Exactly. It is an amazing program. Now, let me ask you this. If your daughter came to you and she said, Mom, I need this. I need you to put this in place because I would struggle without it. You probably wouldn't tell your daughter, let me think about it. You would tell her, I'll get it done. Am I right? Okay? So your whole purpose of your loop, the entire purpose of your loop is to get to that paragraph. Do not give up before you get to that paragraph. Okay? Make that paragraph your own. I know it's a little wonky in the script, and again, this is something that I'm updating to make it a little bit more direct and a little bit more word friendly or speaking friendly. But that is the gist of that loop. Get down to that point, because what that says is as soon as they say yes, I would, of course I would do it for her. They're not saying no to the plan, they're saying no to you. Okay? Because if you were their daughter, if you were their son and you asked them to do it, they would say yes. But the fact that it's you doing it, they're telling you they need to think about it. Follow the logic there? So the reason for that paragraph is to say, hey, if I was your daughter, you would tell me yes, but because I'm Joshua Cribb, you're telling me you need to think about it, right? So then the next part, after you get to that paragraph, your next milestone is the very next paragraph. This is your next milestone on the loop. Okay, there's three milestones. One, that paragraph. Number two is this next one. Exactly. Now that I can understand, you don't know me and you don't have the luxury of a track record with me. So let me reintroduce myself. My name is Joshua Cribb. Write that down. And I am one of the top producing agents here at Senior Life Services. And I pride myself on the ability to go the extra mile for my clients, help their family through the claims process, and be available for you and your daughter 24/7. See, I'm not just here to guide you into a program that best fits your situation, but also here to hold your hand and your daughter's hand every step of the way to make sure you guys get the absolute most out of this policy. See what we did there, right? They just said that they would buy from their daughter, but not buy from you. You rebuild value on yourself. And again, The Way of the Wolf, guys, read that book. It's phenomenal. This is directly from that. It's called The Loop. Jordan Belfort believes if somebody does not buy anything from you, if you're a salesman of any type of thing whatsoever, it's because of three things. They're uncertain on you, they're uncertain on the product, or they're uncertainty on the company. It's always one of those three. So we go down, we finish our loop, and now we covered this last night a little bit, but we're going to cover it again. The reason most insurance agents do not get a sale is because they are scared to ask again for the close. Right? You get caught up in the, I can give you a call back, or I understand. Talk to her and get back to me. You have to continue asking. You want to be a 3-year-old in a candy store. Okay? Can I have it? 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 Can I have Yes, just get the dang M&Ms. Put them on the counter. I'll buy them. You want to be that 3-year-old at a candy store, okay? You need to continue to ask, continue to ask, continue to ask. So here you go. So why don't we do this? Let's enroll in the $25,000 program right now. That is only blank per month. And then set your first payment for whatever fits best for you. And as soon as your first payment is made, you know you can finally fully check this off your list. Does that sound fair enough? Let's do it. This is how you're going to close deals. And again, this loop does work. I've heard, and these are just the two people that I know for a fact have used it. Shamari used to use it all the time on almost every call that she was on and really did really well with it. And Miss Shamari, if you could attest to that. Okay. And then Malik, I have a call recording of Malik using this. I even played it and he crushed it. And the gentleman said, "Yeah, let's do it." Like it works, guys. It works really, really well. You just have to use it and then get good at it because the first time you use something, you're not going to be the best at it. Everybody agree with that statement? So you have to use it consistently to get good at it. But you can be nervous. You have to be willing to ask for the close. Okay. So we're almost done with this training. Any questions for me so far?
No.
Okay. Last thing here. You want to be the way that you'll be in a close throughout the entire phone call. You want to be the way that you're going to be in the close throughout the entire phone call. Okay? The reason I say this is because if you are the super nice agent, super friendly, super like agreeable, right? And you don't want to step on toes and you don't want to be confrontational and you don't want to shoot it straight with the client, if you get down to the close and you try to hard close them, what is the response you're going to get? If you're friendly the entire phone call and then at the end you're trying to hard close, what's the response that you're going to get?
Probably a hang up.
Hang up, that's one. But you build a lot of rapport with this client, but what's the response? Like there's a exact word that they're going to say to you.
Let me think about it.
I mean, think about it, right? But more of you're being pushy. I don't want to be pushed into this. I'm not going to make this rash decision. Why are you being pushy now all of a sudden? Right? Because you're changing your whole personality in the close. You were just this super friendly person. Now you get down to the end. And now you're trying to push them into something. And they're right, you are being pushy. But if you're like that the whole call, right? If you're not afraid to say what's on your mind and actually shoot it straight to the client, because again, you are the expert. If you go to the doctor, you don't want them to sugarcoat something, right? You need them to be honest with you because your health is on the line. You need them to be honest. Don't sugarcoat. Tell them how it is, right? And don't be afraid to do that throughout the call as you need to. That way, when you get to the close, they already realize that that's your personality, right? This is how it's going to go. Okay. Last thing I wanted to add for you guys. All right. Let me stop this recording. All right. So, first things first, I need to see if you guys can open this. See if you guys can open that. Looks like you guys can. I see everybody joining it.
Yep, I did.
Okay. Go ahead and
It
save
shows
this to your
like
favorites bar.
pictures.
What'd you say, Josh?
Save it to your favorites bar. All right, so this is the new script that we worked so hard to create. It is very similar to the script that you guys already have. So bear with me here just a second. I'm going to see if I can get my stuff charged. We're going to go over the new changes and everything. All right, first off, I am going to post something in the Gators coaching. Find it. All right, I'll cover that last. Just somebody remind me commandments whenever we get done. Somebody just remind me commandments. I'll know what I'm talking about. Okay. All right, so I'm going to open up this one, and then I'm going to open up the one that you guys have been using, which is this one. Put these side by side so you guys can see the differences. Okay, share screen. Okay, so this might be a little difficult for you guys to see, but can you guys see what I'm showing here? I have the new script on the left, the old script on the right. Can everybody see it?
I don't see it at all.
Yes, I can.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
I see it.
Daphne, make sure what you're looking at is the zoom.
Zoom.
Yeah, so what do you see right now? You see just your regular computer stuff?
I just see your face and Gators in the background.
Okay. There's a way. Can somebody see how she can see. Do you see on the right-hand side where it shows shared screen or anything like that?
This meeting is being recorded. Okay.
Okay, I'm
Got that.
sharing. Do you see it?
I don't see it. Gosh, I don't want you to get held up for me though.
Okay. Just know that I'm looking at both of them side by side.
Okay.
Do you see another little screen above his head because you may have him pinned?
I don't see it. No, I just see all you guys and gals.
In the center of the screen or down the side?
No, in the top, at the very top is everybody in the meeting.
Okay. So
Can you make it full screen?
It is, I think it is. Let me see.
Do you see a
No,
pin
it's
message at
already
the top
full.
left?
Already full screen.
Does it say pin on the top left?
Let me see here. Zoom. The top left, does it say pinned?
Yeah.
Oh, it just says Gators coaching.
Okay, and you see my face right now, right?
Yeah, I see your beautiful
Okay.
face,
On the
Josh.
top left of that, does it show a pin like a attack?
No.
Okay. All right. So just know I'm looking at both scripts right here, okay? I'm gonna be
Okay.
saying what I'm seeing out loud as well.
Okay.
Okay. So the intro, as you guys can tell, is the exact same from side to side, right? So we have hi, blah, blah, blah. We have our rebuttals right here. And then here's a difference. We have fact finding is now confirmation. It's just literally a word change, but same exact thing, same exact wording. Okay. This is something that I need you guys to know. So everybody grab out a notepad and a pen so you guys can take notes as we're doing this, please. If you get an objection in your intro, and Daphne, if you want to pull up your script so you can follow along, pull up the new one.
Okay. I know I've got the new one up. There's no
Okay,
problem with
perfect.
that.
All right, perfect. So, if you get an objection in the intro, you're going to skip this paragraph. Do not say this paragraph if you get an objection in the intro. What you're going to do is you're going to go straight from your objection down to so I see here that you mentioned your beneficiary would be paying the bill. Okay? So this is how it would go. I don't remember doing that. I understand it's my fault I haven't got back to you sooner. We've had an overwhelming response in your area, and it's been almost impossible for me to follow up for everybody. So I see here that you mentioned that your daughter would be paying the bill, closing out the accounts, and taking care of your final arrangements if you were to pass away. Is that correct? Notice how we just skipped the confirmation. Okay? Now, scrolling down on both of these, here, there's a little bit of a difference. So right here it says, I strongly believe that getting life insurance is a tangible act of love towards someone else. It's something to say, I love you, but it's another thing to actually do something that shows it. So over here, you'll notice that that actually went away. Okay. Right here, it's saying, okay, and I have on file that your date of birth is blank. Is that correct? And my records state that you currently live in city, state. Awesome. What is the weather like in that state? This is what's going to get you into your rapport building. So once you say this little sentence, then you're going to go right into your structured warm up and start building rapport with your client. As you go down, we're going to give the client, this is after the rapport building. So we're right here and right here. We're going to go ahead and give them our credentials. So I hopped on a few SBC's calls today where the agent had not provided their credentials to the client yet. You want to provide your credentials to your client right here on this part of the script. Let them know that you are a licensed agent. When you're doing business over the phone, this is super important because people's guard is already up and they don't trust you as it is. So giving them your credentials lets them know that you are a valid agent. Does everybody know what credentials I'm talking about as far as giving it to the client?
Agent number, NPR, etc.
Correct. So agent number, NPN, any information that you can give them to let them know that you're valid, your first and last name, all of your information, okay?
We give that, Josh, do we give that after the rapport building?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Now, here we move this down below the rapport building. Okay. The reason that we move this down below the rapport building is because this is going to segue you into your policy review. So I strongly believe that getting life insurance is a tangible act of love towards someone else. It's one thing to say I love you, it's another thing to do something that actually shows it. Does your daughter know that you're doing this for her? Is she there? This is your decision maker part. Okay, this finds out, are they capable of making their own decisions on their own? Okay, aside from your beneficiary, what are three people who would be most impacted financially by your passing? This is asking like who's going to be responsible for covering the bills, basically. If they're like, oh, it's just my daughter, that's fine. Don't get hung up on this question. All right. So right here, now, would this be the first money that your daughter would see when you pass, or do you already have something else in place like life insurance or a prepaid burial plan? Basically, finding out if your client already has coverage. Now, question, if your client used the I already have coverage objection up at the top, are you going to ask this question?
No.
No, negative, right? Because that makes it seem like you were not listening. So we're going to skip this question if they already have coverage. Instead,
Wait. Before we move on,
Mhm.
there's two things in that paragraph. It's not just insurance, it's a prepaid burial plan.
Correct.
Okay, well, that's different from insurance.
It is. But them saying that they already have coverage up here, you're not going to ask them if this would be the first money that the family would see.
Right.
Instead, you would touch on what they already have. So
Okay.
here I would say, earlier you mentioned that you already have coverage, and I want to congratulate you on already having something in place.
Gotcha.
Do you mind if I ask how long have you had it, right? And this is where you could, ask some questions about their current coverage.
Sure.
Okay. Depending on the answers that you get about their current coverage. Now, if they're really push offy and they don't want to give you that information, don't pry for it. But if they're open for it, get as much information as you can. Okay. Let's say that you get somebody. So this is a policy review for any of you guys that have not done a policy review before. The purpose of a policy review is to determine if a client has exactly what they think that they have or if they don't. So right here, you would ask questions like, oh, congratulations on having a policy already in place. How long ago did you get it? Oh, that's amazing. How much do you have already to go towards your final expenses? Oh, okay. And about, if you don't mind me asking, about how much are you paying on that? Right? And then get the information. If it sounds accurate, you don't have to do a policy review. If it sounds inaccurate, then that's when you want to do a policy review. Now, as a brand new agent, you may be thinking to yourself, well, how do I know if it sounds accurate? How do I know if it's inaccurate? Common sense is going to play the biggest part here, but an easier way to do it is just run a quote in SLS way real quick. Okay. So, for an example, if a client tells me that they are 65 years young, they tell me that they have a $50,000 policy and they're paying $80 a month and they've had it 10 years. What would I run a quote for in SLS way? They're 65 years young. They have a $50,000 policy and they've had it for 10 years. What quote am I going to run in SLS way?
55 years old.
55 years old, 50,000, and see what the pricing is. Follow me? Because if they've had it 10 years, they were 10 years younger when they got it. I'm going to run a quick quote at 55. Right? Now, if they tell me they're paying $50 a month and I run a quote for a 55-year-old for 50,000 and it comes out to $264 a month, what does that tell me about their policy? Term, not what they think they have, right? Might be accidental, might be any other type of coverage, may not be a whole life policy, but they believe it is. Agreed?
Right.
Yep.
But if they tell me $240 a month and I run a quote and it's 260, does that seem pretty accurate?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So you see how I'm using one, common sense, but two, I'm double checking my common sense with the SLS way calculator, right? To run a quick quote, Pioneer Preferred, just to get an idea. This will help you get so many deals vets. Trust me on this. If you can utilize a policy review 3 times a day, you will get 1 sale a day from the 3 that you do. That's a promise. Okay? Utilizing this is what's going to set you up 10, 12, 15K a week. Policy reviews will. Okay. So when you get into a policy review, I know we haven't touched on that a whole lot, so I'm going to run through this with you, the idea of it and what it's for. Okay. So Miss Jones, I'm going to do something called a policy review. Did you know most people buy insurance, put it in a drawer, and never look at it again? Have you ever heard a story about a person who paid on a policy for years past and it didn't pay out, or it didn't pay out what they thought they had? Have you ever heard a story like that? Yeah or no, it doesn't matter. Why do you think that happens? Wait for a response. Well, that never happens to our clients. In the old days, we used to ask people, do you have insurance? They would say yes. We checked a box on their account and we moved on. That was a mistake. When we audited our files, we found that clients that we had talked to had died and did not get what they were supposed to have. Some had term policies that expired right in the drawer. Some had universal life policies that lost cash value and lapsed. Some had whole life with a loan on it. And sometimes the insurance companies owed them money while they were alive and they never even mentioned it. For an example, do you have State Farm, Allstate, or somebody else? If you already know who they have, are you going to ask this question?
No.
No, right? So I'm just going to go, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to get them on the phone together. And I want you to listen to the questions I asked them. After I finish, we'll go over what we learned together. So let's see if your life insurance company is on the up and up. By the way, when I ask if you authorize me to discuss your policy today, just say yes. I'm going to ask everything right in front of you so you can hear it from the horse's mouth, whether it's good news or bad. You're going to Google their insurance company's customer service phone number and add it to the call. So Mutual of Omaha customer service phone number, dial. AIG customer service phone number, dial. Cornbridge Financial, add it to the phone. Okay, just Google their customer service number, add them to the call. When you get somebody on the line, you're going to say, "Hey, my name is Joshua Cribb. I'm a benefits coordinator, and I'm trying to help one of your clients get their final affairs in order. Your client is here on the phone with me, and I know you'll need to have them authorize you to speak with me further in a moment, but I had some general questions first. Is this the department that can answer questions regarding the readiness of the policy to pay funeral in the near term, as well as any other questions about the structure of the policy, or do we need to be transferred to another department?" They're going to give you one of two answers: yes, I can help, or let me transfer you. Okay, let me introduce my client or our client. Um, Miss Jones, your insurance company would need to speak with you for a moment before I can help you any further. Okay, go ahead, Miss Jones, and go ahead, agent. Okay, great. In case of any hospital claims, do you guys provide health benefits for Miss Jones or just life benefits? This is to help you determine if it's like almost like a American Home Life, health and life together. If it's just life, this will help you kind of determine the structure of the policy. Most of the time, they're going to say, oh, it's just a life policy. Okay. These are the questions, because I know I got this a lot. What questions do I need to ask on a policy review? These are it. Okay. I need to confirm policy numbers, mailing address, telephone number. What type of policy is it? If death occurred today of natural causes, what would this policy pay out? Is this policy in force, and when was the policy placed in force? Is the policy paid current? If not, when is it scheduled to lapse? Who is the beneficiary and the owner? What is the face value? Will the face value ever change? What is the death benefit? Will it ever change? What is the current cash value? Are there any riders? What is the monthly premium? Are there any loans on this policy? Those are the questions that you're going to need to know and write down as you're gathering policy information. All right. Once they
Hey
give
Josh,
this, yeah,
what do you do if you get pushback from the customer service folks? You know, they don't want to talk to you because blah blah blah. Like senior life insurance will not talk to you no matter what.
they are about the only company that will not.
Okay.
Most other companies will. You want to be as professional as possible on that phone call. You want that client to get as aggravated as they need to get at that person. Let them be aggravated, okay? Because if they're aggravated at them, for an example, let's say you call senior life insurance and they tell you we will not help you with you on the line, and you go, well, Miss Jones is on the line with us. She does want to know her policy information, and she has given me permission to speak with you. Miss Jones, I just want to confirm I do have permission to speak on your behalf, correct? Yes. Okay. So now that Miss Jones has given me permission to speak on her behalf, the owner of the policy is on the line with us. Can you share that information? No, I cannot. Okay, Miss Jones, it doesn't look like we can get you information today. I apologize. And what do you think that client's going to think of that company?
Negative.
Negative, right? Because let's be honest, if you didn't have anything to hide, would you be scared to say it?
Nope.
No, right? If you don't have anything to hide, you'll be upfront and honest about it. So, Once you get off of the policy review, and usually what's going to happen is your client's going to get a little irate right here. Okay. Because 5 out of 10 times they have nothing what they thought they had. They had a 50,000 for $50 a month. You just called in, they have 10,000 for $50 a month. So your client's going to be a little pissed. Okay. But this is a good thing and a bad thing. Bad because they didn't have what they thought they had, but good because the client needed to know that they only had 10 and not 50. Everybody agree with that? That's something good to
Absolutely.
know. It's good to know that the client's on a 2-year waiting period instead of day one coverage, right? It's good to know that their policy is going to terminate when they turn 80 instead of being good for the rest of their life. All of this is very good for your client to know, and it solidifies you as an agent for doing your job to make sure you're helping them to the fullest. Okay? All right, Miss Jones, what do you think? Oh, I'm not happy. I thought I had 50 and I only have 10. Well, let me give you a little bit of peace of mind. I'm going to be here to help you out today and making sure you have everything that you need. Okay? Then you're going to get into your needs analysis. Your needs analysis is the same as establishing buying motive. Same exact question, same exact questions. Funeral cost, loved ones, or church or charity, who has significance to it? Which of these is the most important to you? All right. Does anybody rely on your income to help them get bills paid? Basically asking, hey, do you have a dependent that lives with you? Do you have somebody that's with you that, relies on you? Who agrees that we're getting more and more grandparents taking care of grandchildren?
Yeah,
Yep.
I agree.
Mhm. So this is a great question to ask because this gives you an idea of their situation. If they have a lot of people or grandchildren that live with them that they're taking care of, it'd be nice to have a policy so them grandchildren could be taken care of if they outlive before they die before they turn 18, right?
Yep.
Here's where you're going to ask, just curious, has anything held you back from getting this taken care of in the past? Same exact question. Now, if I qualify, I'm going to send you something, same exact question. So again, guys, it's not a massive change here, okay? That's the big thing I want you guys to take away from it. A lot of this stuff is not a massive change compared to what you're already used to, and I wanted to make it like that so it's not like a shock, okay? I don't want it to be a pool shock where we can't get into it for 48 hours. Everybody makes sense, listen or understand what I'm saying by that?
Yes,
Yeah, I get you.
understood.
All right, so now we go into health evaluation. Health evaluation has changed a little bit, okay? We changed this to make sure that you guys get less counter offers. So Daphne, perfect example. You know how when we do an app and all these meds come up, we're like, whoa, the client didn't tell us about any of that, right?
Yep. Yep.
This is going to eliminate some of that for you, okay?
Excellent. Excellent.
So that I can figure out what you qualify for. Same exact questions for the first two. Heart, liver, kidney, or lung issues. Heart, liver, kidney, lung. Cancer, heart attack, stroke, COPD, diabetes. Heart attack, cancer, stroke, diabetes, right? Same exact questions. Here's the difference. Down here, we ask, and no congestive heart failure or dementia? No. Any history of HIV or AIDS? No. Any hospitalizations in the last 2 years? No. Are you in a nursing home facility or need home health care? No. Okay, do you need any assistance with the ADL, such as toileting, dressing, feeding, or bathing? No. Okay. Do you have any rare conditions like MS, lupus, seizures, Parkinson's? What about a history of alcohol or drug abuse? So a little bit more questions to get a better idea of what we were not covering before. Pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
Then same exact questions. Are you currently prescribed any medications? What do you take them for? This is key. When you get medications, what is the very first thing you do for every medication that you gather?
Ask them what it's for.
What it's for, and I want you to Google it. I want everybody Googling every medication that you get. The reason that I want you to Google every medication that you get is because that is the easiest way for you to remember them. Okay? If you Google them over and over and over again, let's say you get lisinopril 3 times in one day. Let's say you Google it the first time, high blood pressure. You Google it the second time, high blood pressure. The third time that you get it, are you going to need to Google it?
No.
No.
What did it just do? Stored in the memory bank.
Yep.
Right? That's why I want
Yep.
you Googling every medication that you get. Mr. Gary.
Hey Josh, I found that Chat GBT is better to Google to search than Google.
Okay, there you go.
It's a AI, and
Mhm.
it just gets more detail.
Yep. So if you're a little bit more tech savvy, you can use ChatGPT. I don't care how you guys do it. Just make sure you know what each medication's for, okay? Notice, a lot of people were asking, how much do you want to weigh today? Right? That's a little funny thing to ask. I don't like it. Just ask somebody how much they weigh. How much do you weigh? Right? Want to weigh today? There was too many off answers. Oh, I want to weigh 140. Yeah, but what are you? Really? Come on, tell me. Right? I want to know how much they weigh. Have you smoked or used tobacco in the last 12 months? Instead of just, do you use tobacco? How many times have we done apps where they're like, yeah, I quit smoking 3 months ago, and you're like, oh crap, I should have quoted you as a smoker, right? You get Chantex up on your app and you're like, do you smoke? No, I don't smoke. I quit 3 months ago. You're like, crap. Okay. Well, it's going to be $50 more, Miss Jones. I'm so sorry. Right? Instead, have you smoked or used tobacco in the last 12 months? Get that answer. Okay?
So it's not 24 months anymore.
12 months.
It's 12 months.
Yep.
Can I ask a question about that real quick, Josh?
Mm-hmm.
So it's cigars and all that. How does that count? Is it
Pipe and cigar, only those two, pipe and cigar. If it's occasional, then it's not considered smoking.
okay? But
Once a
pipe and
week,
cigars are considered using tobacco, right?
not using.
Or not?
They're non-tobacco.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, sir. Everything else, guys, is tobacco. Vapes, tobacco. Cigarettes, tobacco. Chewing, tobacco. Right? Chantex, tobacco. Nicotine gum, tobacco. Okay. Anything like that is all tobacco. Okay. Then we
Well,
get
what if
into.
the vapes are not nicotine based?
I would go no tobacco then.
Okay.
Okay, can you confirm that again? You said cigars and pipes are not tobacco.
If it's occasional.
Occasional. Okay. All
Yep.
right. Thank
Now,
you.
if old dude's got a pipe in his mouth 24/7, he's a smoker. Okay. If he's like, yeah, I smoke a pipe. I never leave my pipe. Yeah, he's a smoker. But if he's like, yeah, I pack a pipe, on the weekends, he's occasional, non-smoker. Okay. Payment verification is the same exact as what you guys are used to, no change. What did change is the SBC information. So once you have an idea of the company that qualify for it, read them the health questions on the carrier's applications. Applications are found in SLS Connects. Okay. So right here, guys, I want everybody to pay attention to this. We are supposed to read the questions on the application. Okay. The reason for this is to eliminate all confusion on what your client qualifies for. Okay? Everybody understand what I just said there, right? You're supposed to
Yes.
read the applications. This takes a long time to do. I'm going to save you guys a little bit of time. The best thing for you to do is to ask all of these health questions exactly how we laid them out, and it covers every health condition that's on the application. Okay? We made it a little bit more simpler for you guys. So you can kind of skip over this a little bit. If you're unsure, let's say you're unsure on what company to go with, your first thing should not be the underwriting chat. Your first thing should be open up the carrier, Pioneer, and read them their health questions right off the app. Okay? This is going to help you get better at underwriting. Forrest, or Gary first and then Forrest.
My hand was still up from before. Let me load it.
Okay. Forrest.
And cover every health condition, right?
Huh?
It doesn't cover every health condition, right?
90%. 90%.
Like, what about wheelchair bound?
Yeah, that's assistance with
Or
ADLs. Like I said, 90%.
okay.
It'll cover a majority of them. Okay. But again, if you're unsure, go straight to the app and read the app health questions. Okay. But this also plays a factor into learning this as you go, right? So, for an example, if somebody tells you that they have Parkinson's or ALS, you should Google that if you don't know what it is already, and see what it causes. If it causes paralysis or convulsing and stuff like that, then a follow-up question would be what, Forrest? Are you in a wheelchair? Right? Okay. So now
with their
for
muscles.
yep, so now after you get this information, you're going to be posting SBC up here, need SBC. Let's say an SBC is available. The proper way to bring in your SBC is like this. I'm going to show you the good way and the bad way, okay? Good way. Hello, Josh. Let me bring you up to speed. My client is very nice and I'm trying to help them. I have Miss Jones on the line. She's 76 years young. She had a stroke back in October. She's doing really good though. She's looking to cover something for her funeral. She would like a funeral. Her daughter's going to be her beneficiary. She does have a policy in place, a $5,000 policy, but she feels like that may not be enough. So she's just looking for a little bit of extra. Can you help us out? Yes, I can. That's a good SBC. Here's a bad one. Hey, this is Josh. Hey, this is Josh. Hi, Josh. This is Miss Jones. How are you? Hey, Miss Jones. All right, Forrest, can you fill me in, sir? Okay. The client should not be the first person to speak to me. It should 100% be you as the agent. You as the agent should say, Miss Jones, I'm bringing Josh on the line. Let me go ahead and fill him in. Josh. Hey, this is Josh. Hey, Josh. This is Josh. Or this is Forrest. Let me go ahead and fill you in. The agent needs to be the first one to talk and fill me in on what's going on. Okay? It needs to be a warm, nice transfer. Okay? Any questions on bringing in an SBC onto your call?
Got it.
Okay. All right. Once the SBC hops on, we all know what to do from there, but let's continue as SBC is not hopping on your call. So presentation, again, we made this very, very simple for you guys. Presentation is the exact same. No changes. Okay? So as you guys have noticed, not very many changes so far, right? 2 changes so far. One is the policy review is added. Number 2 is additional health questions. So far, not many changes. Everybody agree?
Yep.
Okay. Presentation is the exact same. So all the way down to quoting. Exact same. No difference. Right here is our loop. If they give you an objection, use this. If they give you an objection, say this. So everybody see we're on the same exact spot right here, right? This is your loop. There's one small change in your loop, okay? And it's right here. So now let me ask you this. I'm going to read you the way it was before, and then I'll read you the way that I changed it to. Now, let me ask you this. If I was your daughter, or if I had helped your mom or dad get this before they passed, and it covered all of the expenses your family faced during that time, you probably wouldn't be saying, let me think about it. You'd be saying, where do I sign up? Am I right? That's the old way. Here's the change. Now, let me ask you this. If your daughter came to you and asked you to do this for them or said they needed this to make sure your final expenses are covered, you probably wouldn't tell them, let you think about it. You'd say, what do I need to do? Or of course I will. Am I right? Which one do you guys like better?
The new one.
A little bit easier to roll off the tongue, right?
Yeah.
The shorter one because I run out of a word count by the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. Everything else is the exact same. Now, application information. This is old basic. This is new and improved, okay? This has changed, okay? Gathering your application has changed, but it's changed for the better. All you have to do is read this. This is the exact way that us coaches ask for information for the application. This was the simple way for anybody to be able to do it. This is the new and improved way, okay? So, all right. So if this policy is approved and God forbid you were to pass, I'm assuming that you would want to check made out to Jennifer. Would that be correct? Yes. Okay. The way I spell their name today is the way it's going to be printed on that check. To prevent any issues on that future day, please spell Jennifer's first and last name the way it would be spelled on their ID. Got it. Excellent. Thank you. Sounds very formal, does it not?
Yeah.
Okay, so the insurance company wants to get to know you a little bit better. I do have some of your basic information on file, but I still need to ask you a few questions. Can you please spell your first and last name for me? Can you confirm your address? Is the number I reached you on your home or your cell? What state were you born in? What is your date of birth? Doctor's name, address, and health clinic, right? All of this information all the way up until here, okay? Same. Now, this is the old way that it was on the PEC. So, Miss Jones, your coverage is going to start immediately, meaning the bank will send in your first payment within the next 2 business days. I can't pay in the next 2 days. How many times did y'all get that?
Oh, lots.
A lot, right? I can't pay in the next 2 days. Abu, this is your e-check. Ready?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
So we go right over here to policy protection. This is exactly how I say it every time. Okay. If you qualify for a free service called policy protection, that means the insurance company will be communicating directly with your bank for your premium payment. Policy protection down simply means that in the event of a serious illness or an inability to make a manual payment, your policy will not be in danger of lapsing because the payment is made electronically. Okay. Once Pioneer receives first payment, you are covered. So don't worry. There won't be any delays in starting your coverage. Best case scenario, Pioneer will accept payment from your bank within 24 hours. Worst case scenario, you may have to wait 72 hours for them to send in the payment, but leave the money in your account just in case. And I will stay on top of this and attempt to get your policy funded and your coverage started as soon as possible. If for any reason the insurance company has not accepted your payment within the next 3 days, please let me know. What did that just do?
Try to get an e-check.
It
It
assumes
assured
the
them.
e-check.
Yep,
It
e-check.
It
also
also
made it.
assures them.
Go ahead,
You
John.
eliminated the trigger words.
It also made it seem like it's a privilege to get this e-check, right?
Okay.
Worst case scenario, you may have to wait 72 hours. Like, oh crap, I might have to wait. So you're making it almost like it's a privilege to have it taken out right away. Okay? Now, as many of you guys are doing right now, you have my banking script opened up on a different page, and you're having to go back and forth right now to both. Everybody agree with that? You have to
Yep.
go back and forth right now, and it's a pain in the butt. Everybody agree? That's not fun. So I took my banking verbiage and I put it right here on the script for you. So, okay, perfect. And what is the name of the bank you would like to use to make your payments with? All right. And let me see if we partner with them. Okay, so it looks like we do partner with them, and I do have some of their information on file. I have the routing number here in front of me. I'm going to read it to you if you can confirm for me that this matches what you have. I have it as blank. Is that correct? One of two things is going to happen here. They're going to confirm or they're going to say, I don't know, I don't have it. Right?
Yep.
Well, what I was finding is when they said they don't have it, everybody's kind of like, oh, what do I do? So what I did right here is I made the 4 different ways for you to assume and get banking. Okay? Oh, okay. No worries. Well, there are a couple easy ways to be able to find it, Miss Jones. I'm assuming you're still old school like me and you still write checks. Am I right? No, I don't write checks. Okay. Do you have a piece of paper that the bank sends you every month that shows what you spend your money on, like a bank statement? No, that I don't get those. Okay, that means you're new school and that means you're new school and you probably have the app on your phone. Am I right? Yeah, I have the app on my phone. Okay, perfect. Go ahead and log into that for me and I can show you right where to find it. Assumptive. Make them do it. Okay? This gives you exactly what to say and how to say it. Okay, this is how you're going to gather banking. John Boken, are you here?
Yes.
Remember how earlier you had put in the chat, client can't find their banking, right?
Yeah.
What do I need to do? These are the 4 ways that I would go about trying to get it if I was able to. Okay?
Yeah.
So this makes it a little bit easier for those situations, okay?
Yep.
Let's say they don't have any of these top three. Okay, we can always just call the bank and they can give it to you over the phone. It's super easy. I'm going to call the bank and get you on the line with the representative. I will do all the prompts. When they answer, you're going to have to do all the talking because it's your account. You just need to ask for the routing and account number and I will be on mute. Dial them in. Okay, shows you exactly how to call the bank and get it. All right. And are you a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident? Okay. And to verify that, what is your social?
Oh, interesting.
So easy way to be able to get their social. Let's say they fight you on the social. No, I don't give my social out over the phone. At this point, we already have their bank account information, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say they're not going to give you their social. Hey, I understand your concern, but if you pass, the insurance company is going to write a check for $20,000. Before they do that, they're going to need to verify that the insured had a legal right to be here in the first place. And you are a legal citizen of the United States, correct? Okay. Then I would need that to verify your social and a proof of citizenship on your file. Here you go. Okay. Great way to gather that social for people that don't want to give it. All right. So now I'm going to do a voice signature with you. This is to make sure I did my job properly and I covered the dates, times, amounts, company, and coverage with you. Today's date is June the 9th, 2025. That'll be the first question I ask you, and I'm going to go ahead and start it now. Start it. Start your voice sig. Now you're into a voice signature. Streamlined process here for you guys. Okay. Now, let's say it's not AMAM, it's not Sika, there is no voice signature. You wouldn't say this, right? If it's American Home Life, it's a text message. If it's UHL, it's an email. Okay. Each company has their own signature process. So if it's not a voice signature, you're obviously not going to read this. You're just going to do the app and do the signature on the application. Okay.
Okay.
Any questions up until now, guys? All right. Up until this point, who thinks this is going to help them?
I think it will.
Yep.
Definitely.
Okay.
It won't have me so scattered, so it'll be a lot easier to keep everything organized.
Bam, 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 right? A to Z, no back and forth. So now my deal is done. This is something I need every agent doing. I will pull you after your calls to verify that this has been done. If it's not done, I'm going to make you call your client back. Okay? I will be on your butt about this. And and I'm going to say this, I will not do this on your call. So please do not do as I lead, do as I say. Please. Remember your parents telling you that as kids? Don't do as I do as I say. My mom and dad used to tell me that all the time. The reason I'm not going to do this on your call is because this 10 minutes of doing this right here is better spent of my time hopping over to the next agent to help them out. Right? Your time, though, this 10 minutes is spent making sure you don't get a FISAP tomorrow, that you don't get a client calling in to cancel your policies, that you don't get a client that has buyer's remorse, that you don't get a client that's charged $300 and they thought you said $3, right? This is to prevent your policy issue. So I need every agent to do this. On top of that, this is going to help you gather referrals. Referrals are a great way to go from 5 to 10, 10 to 15, 15 to 20K producer. Easiest way right here. If the client likes you and they bought a policy from you, they're going to want to offer you other people to buy insurance from you as well. So you're going to go right into your seal the deal. Okay, Miss Jones, did I answer all of your questions today? If you met somebody tomorrow that said, I need insurance, did I do a good enough job to earn your recommendation? Yes, I did. Where do you write things down that you don't want to forget? Please jot down my name and number and offer it to anybody that asks you about life insurance. Okay, I got it. Okay, on that note, you've been so patient with me, and I'd like to offer you a little gift. Our agency has a program that gives you an extra $1,000. free accidental insurance up to 5,000 for every person you're able to introduce me to. And they're not required to buy anything. It's actually kind of fun. So who's the first person that comes to your mind so you can get that first $1,000 of extra coverage? First referral. Who's the second? Second referral. Get them one at a time. I'm not the best at gathering referrals. Zach's pretty good at it, and Zach says this is the best way to do it. And I wholeheartedly believe him when he says it, right? So one at a time, get your referrals. Get name, phone number, name, phone number, name, phone number, name, phone number, name, phone number. Get your 5. Okay. There's their free $5,000. All right. So, Miss Jones, you have been awesome. We've covered a lot of ground. I see a lot of things in this business. Family is not what it used to be.
Hey,
So
Josh,
yeah,
what if they don't have five right now? They can't think. Maybe they only have one. Then
perfect. However many you can get, as long as it's better than 0.
okay, and then
Okay.
they can give that to you later, right?
They can. Yep. Yep.
Okay.
The purpose of this is, and this will not work on everyone, right? Some will be like, oh, my aunt might need it, but I'm not sure yet. I'll talk to her first. Okay, don't push for it. Okay, right? Just do everything you can
Okay.
to get them. But I at least want it attempted on every phone call. Okay.
Okay.
All right, so you've been awesome. We've covered a lot of ground. I see a lot of things in this business. Family is not what it used to be, so I'm very encouraged to see that you still have as much love within yours. I'm part of that world now, and because I'm your insurance agent, I'm gonna be there on the day your family needs me the most, and I'm gonna tell them about our time here today and give them one more good memory to add to their collection. Thank you for that privilege, Miss Jones. Let me ask you 4 questions before I let you go today. Do you remember the name of the insurance company that offered you insurance today? I think it was Pioneer. Excellent. They're going to be mailing a policy directly to you. As soon as you get it, please call me at repeat your phone number and I'll go over it with you. Your first payment will be processed today, but what day will your payment be processed next month? Do you know? Oh, yeah, on the 20th. Perfect. The only thing that's worse than not having enough coverage is to have enough and then lose it or
Okay.
not get
Excuse me,
enough.
Josh.
Yeah.
So, do we have anything that will help us review their policy with them when they get it?
Um,
I mean, how often do they really call and say, "Hey, I got my." You said you want to go over it with me.
Not very, but you want to be calling them and going
You
over
can
it with
pull
them,
up. Can I say something, Josh?
please.
You can pull up your policy on the Pioneer, uh, what's it called? The EAP, Pioneer EAP that we have.
And it's the
Josh,
same
do
thing
you
that
know
they
what?
get. It's the same one that they get.
As long as it has it, you download it and you can go over everything with the client. You can do that I know you can do it with Pioneer. I know you can do it with Gerber. I'm not sure about the other providers. I think you
Um,
can. I just don't know where it's located in the portal.
what I would do, Rico, is maybe just call back office
Oh, I got you. Get a
and
copy.
see if they can just email you a copy real quick.
Oh, there you go. All right, there you
That's
go.
with the Pioneer. I don't know about the actual welcome packet from Senior Life. I don't know what they can.
I've seen that before. It's very simple. It's thank you for doing business with us. It has your business card attached. It has our home office phone number, a picture of our home office in Vero Beach. It's just very like formal and just quick, easy. It's like 2 pages. But just call back office Rico and go, hey, I got my client on the line. They want to do a policy review on their policy. Can you email me a copy? I'm the writing agent.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Yep. When you think about providing a check for $10,000 to your family and paying $110 per month. Do not be afraid to say the monthly here, okay, guys? Please do not be afraid to say the monthly per month to make that happen. Do those numbers feel high, low, or perfect? Your clients are never going to say low. Never going to happen, okay? They're going to say, well, it feels a little high, but I feel like it's worth it. Or, I'm going to try it out. Whatever they say, just make sure they're aware of how much it's going to be per month and what it's going to be used for, okay? Last question. If somebody asked you, why did you buy this policy today? What would you tell them? Great question. This removes buyer's remorse. Okay? This will make it to where when they wake up tomorrow, and they see $110 drafted from their bank account, they're not like, oh crap, let me cancel. Okay? This eliminates your buyer's remorse. All right. So, Miss Jones, we'll be talking soon when I discuss your new policy with you over the phone. Between now and then, if anybody calls you about anything related to your insurance, please call me before you speak with them. I am your agent. So I will be in the greatest position or the best position to assist you. Did you have any further questions for me before I let you go? No? All right. Have a great day. Okay. Sale is done. Okay. This is why seal the deal is so important. It has so many key factors in it. It's referrals, it re-verifies everything that you talked about, it's a recap, but more importantly than any of that. And again, I'm guilty of this on my SBCs, but it's just for a time crunch type of reason. But what is the worst thing that you can do is close a deal and say goodbye. So do an application for somebody and then hop right off the phone like, thank you, goodbye, right? Imagine taking somebody's payment information and everything and then going, all right, perfect. This is why it's also important to do the application with your client on the phone, right? Because if you go, okay, and what's your banking? Okay, what's your social? What's your voice signature? All right, Miss Jones, I'll give you a call back as soon as I get it done. Okay, goodbye, bye. You're like, okay, I got a sale. But the client's on the other line, like, this person just spent 45 minutes talking to me, got my banking and social, and dipped. They're gone. It's not a good feeling to have as being on the receiving end of that. Does everybody agree with that statement?
Yep.
Agreed.
Great.
Okay. So all of this goes hand in hand in hand, and this is to help you close more deals. It's to help you sound more professional on your phone calls. It's to help you gather banking the proper way. It's to help you gather more referrals so you can make the most out of each phone call or make the most out of every sale that you get. It's to help you eliminate FISAPs. It's to help you increase your e-check percentage. It's to help you not get as many counter offers. Like this is like the script on steroids that has everything that you need to be able to do your job. And even as a brand new agent, let's say you've never even sold insurance a day in your life, you can read this top to bottom and get sales. Okay? It is literally that easy because 90% of this is exactly what I'm going to say when I hop on your phone call. Okay. There's literally, if you guys have heard me on an SBC, you can pretty much follow my presentation all the way down, all the way past application information. Like you can follow me pretty much the entire way down. And I pretty much say word for word what's on the script. I skip a few things, but most of it is right there. Any questions on that?